long before humans existed or modern ecosystems even began to form across the planet. During that prehistoric era, Earth belonged to giant predators powerful enough to dominate entire environments. During that prehistoric era, Earth dominate entire environments with almost no natural competition anywhere around them. Some hunted in coordinated packs, some crushed bone with terrifying bite force, and others controlled rivers, forests, and coastlines through overwhelming size and aggression. These were not just animals wandering ancient landscapes. They were prehistoric apex predators built entirely for survival and domination. One of the most iconic predators ever discovered is the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex, a giant carnivore with one of the strongest bite forces ever recorded in any land animal throughout natural history. Its enormous skull and bone-crushing jaws allowed it to destroy prey with terrifying efficiency during hunts across prehistoric North America millions of years ago. Scientists believe a single bite from this predator could shatter bone instantly, delivering enough pressure to crush even heavily armored prey without difficulty. Its massive size alone made it one of the most feared hunters prehistoric Earth had ever seen. Another terrifying predator was Spinosaurus, a massive semi-aquatic hunter believed in some estimates to have exceeded Tyrannosaurus rex in total body length. Unlike many giant carnivorous dinosaurs, Spinosaurus was adapted for hunting both on land and within ancient river systems filled with enormous prey species. Its crocodile-like jaws, powerful swimming adaptations, and elongated body structure made it a deadly ambush predator in prehistoric wetlands and waterways. Few creatures could escape once this giant predator launched an attack from beneath the surface. Among the smartest prehistoric hunters was Velociraptor, a predator much smaller than popular films often portray, but still extremely dangerous within its natural environment. Scientists believe these agile hunters may have cooperated in groups, using speed, intelligence, and coordinated movement to overwhelm prey larger than themselves during close-range attacks. Their curved claws were specifically designed for slashing and gripping prey efficiently during violent encounters. Despite their relatively smaller size, their intelligence and hunting behavior made them deeply effective predators. Then came Giganotosaurus, one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs ever discovered by paleontologists studying ancient South American fossil beds today. Longer than Tyrannosaurus rex in overall length, this apex predator dominated prehistoric ecosystems through immense size, muscular strength, and devastating jaws, capable of tearing through massive prey. Its body structure suggests it relied on both power and endurance during hunts across open prehistoric landscapes. In its environment, few predators could challenge its dominance successfully. Another dangerous hunter was Allosaurus, an aggressive carnivore that ruled during the Jurassic period long before Tyrannosaurus rex appeared on Earth naturally. Unlike heavier predators relying mostly on brute force, Allosaurus used speed, flexibility, and repeated slashing attacks to weaken prey over time efficiently. Its sharp serrated teeth and flexible neck structure allowed rapid attack movements during high-intensity hunting encounters. This made it one of the most adaptable and dangerous predators of its era. Near prehistoric rivers lurked one of the most terrifying ambush predators ever discovered, the gigantic reptile known as Deinosuchus, large enough to attack dinosaurs approaching ancient waterways. This crocodile-like monster remained hidden beneath river surfaces, waiting silently for opportunities to strike explosively. Once prey moved close enough, Deinosuchus could launch overwhelming attacks using immense jaw strength, capable of crushing bone and dragging victims underwater instantly. Few prehistoric creatures would have survived an ambush from this giant reptilian predator. Another fast-moving predator was Carnotaurus, instantly recognizable because of its horned head, lightweight build, and unusually athletic body proportions throughout its skeletal structure. Scientists believe it may have been one of the fastest large carnivorous dinosaurs ever to exist across prehistoric plains and open environments. Its speed, combined with powerful jaws and explosive acceleration, made it an efficient hunter capable of rapidly chasing prey across ancient landscapes. Few predators combined agility and aggression so effectively, but not every dangerous dinosaur relied entirely on sharp teeth for survival and intimidation within prehistoric ecosystems millions of years ago, naturally. Therizinosaurus possessed some of the largest claws ever evolved by any land animal in Earth's history. Gigantic curved claws extending several feet in length made this creature visually terrifying even among other prehistoric giants nearby. Although scientists still debate aspects of its exact behavior and diet, Those enormous claws would have served as devastating defensive weapons against attacking predators. Few creatures would risk direct confrontation with an animal carrying such extreme natural weaponry. Another fearsome raptor species was Utahraptor, a much larger and more powerful relative of Velociraptor, discovered in prehistoric North American fossil formations. This predator combined intelligence, dangerous claws, muscular strength, and pack hunting potential into one of the most terrifying coordinated hunters of prehistoric times overall. Its enlarged, sickle-shaped claws alone were capable of inflicting severe damage during attacks on large prey animals. In group formations, Utahraptors would have been extremely difficult for prey species to escape. And finally came Tarbosaurus, close relative of Tyrannosaurus rex that dominated ancient Asian ecosystems during the late Cretaceous period, naturally across massive territories, possessing similar crushing jaws, muscular power, and predatory efficiency. Tarbosaurus became one of the most dominant predators within its environment successfully. Its hunting abilities and massive size ensured few animals could challenge its position at the top of the prehistoric food chain. Across ancient Asia, it ruled through pure power and intimidation. Together, these predators controlled prehistoric Earth for millions of years, adapting perfectly to forests, rivers, swamps, deserts, and open plains across the planet continuously over vast evolutionary timescales. Some dominated dense jungle environments, while others controlled coastlines or hunted across enormous open territories filled with gigantic prey species. But eventually, mass extinction events, climate shifts, and environmental collapse brought the age of dinosaurs to an end permanently. Even so, their fossils continue revealing just how terrifying prehistoric Earth once truly was before modern animals existed. The most fascinating part is this. Humans have never seen predators on this scale in recorded modern history anywhere on Earth naturally. No modern land animal truly compares to the sheer size, power, aggression, and dominance displayed by these prehistoric hunters millions of years ago. Their existence reminds us that Earth once belonged to creatures far more extreme than anything alive today. Perhaps that is exactly why dinosaurs continue fascinating humanity more than almost any other animals ever discovered. Across Africa's endless savannas, as the sun disappears below the horizon, a strange sound echoes through the darkness that resembles laughter, but is actually the haunting call of one of the most intelligent, powerful, and misunderstood predators on Earth. For generations, the spotted hyena has been portrayed as nothing more than a cowardly scavenger surviving on leftovers stolen from lions, creating one of wildlife's greatest misconceptions. Modern research reveals a completely different reality, showing an apex carnivore whose intelligence, endurance, and extraordinary hunting ability have made it one of Africa's most successful predators. Across much of sub-Saharan Africa, spotted hyenas thrive in open grasslands, woodlands, savannas, and semi-arid regions where many other large predators struggle to survive under harsh environmental conditions. Their remarkable adaptability allows them to hunt efficiently by day or night while traveling enormous distances in search of food, making them perfectly suited to some of Africa's most demanding ecosystems. Whether crossing endless plains or moving silently beneath the cover of darkness, they remain among the continent's most resilient and versatile hunters. One of the hyena's greatest weapons is its astonishing bite force. It's powered by massive jaw muscles and specialized crushing teeth capable of shattering the thick leg bones of zebras, wildebeest, buffalo, and many other large mammals with incredible efficiency. Hidden inside those bones lies nutrient-rich marrow, a valuable source of fat and energy that very few predators can access, giving hyenas an important survival advantage during periods when food becomes scarce. Their digestive system is equally remarkable, allowing them to consume bones, cartilage, connective tissue, and thick skin, while leaving behind almost nothing that can be wasted. Far from living as solitary scavengers, spotted hyenas exist within highly organized social groups known as clans, some containing more than 80 individuals living under a surprisingly sophisticated social structure, built around cooperation and hierarchy. Unlike lions, wolves, and many other mammals, these societies are dominated by females, with adult females growing larger, stronger, and holding higher social status than males throughout the clan. Every member understands its position, recognizes individuals through sight, scent, and vocalizations, and remembers important social relationships that may last for years. Researchers studying spotted hyenas have discovered levels of intelligence that rival several primate species during cooperative problem-solving tasks, demonstrating memory, communication, planning, and impressive social awareness, far beyond what most people expect. Their ability to coordinate with other clan members during hunting expeditions allows them to pursue prey efficiently while adapting strategies depending on terrain, numbers, and the behavior of their target. These discoveries continue challenging outdated ideas that hyenas survive only by instinct or simple scavenging behavior. Perhaps the biggest myth surrounding spotted hyenas is that they survive mainly by stealing food from lions, when in reality they actively hunt a large percentage of the animals they consume across Africa every single year. Working together, clans pursue wildebeest, zebras, gazelles, antelope, and many other herbivores over long distances, relying on exceptional stamina rather than explosive bursts of speed to exhaust their prey. This relentless endurance allows them to remain effective hunters even during extended pursuits that would overwhelm many competing predators. Their greatest rivals are lions, creating one of the most intense and fascinating competitive relationships found anywhere in the African wilderness, where both predators frequently compete for the same food resources. Lions often steal kills from hyenas whenever possible, while large hyena clans have also been observed driving lions away from carcasses through overwhelming numbers, coordination and determination rather than individual strength alone. Victory in these encounters often depends not on which predator is stronger, but on which group works together more effectively. Night is when spotted hyenas become especially formidable, using extraordinary hearing to detect distant sounds, an exceptional sense of smell to locate food from kilometers away, and unmatched endurance to patrol enormous territories before sunrise, while darkness reduces visibility for many animals. Hyenas remain confident, hunters capable of navigating the landscape with remarkable efficiency while searching for both hunting opportunities and abandoned carcasses. Their ability to dominate the nighttime environment makes them one of Africa's most successful nocturnal carnivores. Beyond their reputation as powerful predators, spotted hyenas perform one of the most important ecological roles on the African savanna, by consuming nearly every edible part of dead animals and recycling valuable nutrients back into the ecosystem. This remarkable efficiency reduces waste, limits opportunities for harmful bacteria and disease to spread, and helps maintain healthier environments for countless other species sharing the same habitat. Without hyenas performing this natural recycling process, the balance of many African ecosystems would be dramatically different. The spotted hyena is not a villain, nor is it merely a scavenger living in the shadow of lions, but an intelligent, highly social, bone-crushing predator that has evolved into one of Africa's greatest wildlife success stories through cooperation, endurance, and remarkable adaptability. Every eerie call echoing across the savanna reminds us that nature often rewards teamwork just as much as physical strength, and that survival depends on far more than appearances alone. Perhaps the greatest lesson the spotted hyena teaches us is that the world's most misunderstood animals are often the most extraordinary once we finally understand the truth behind their reputation. Winter in Russia's Far East is unlike almost anywhere else on Earth, where temperatures can plunge below -40 degrees Celsius. Snow buries the landscape for months. Rivers freeze solid, food becomes scarce, and every movement demands precious energy from every living creature struggling to survive. For most animals, this frozen wilderness is a relentless test of endurance, where even small mistakes can become fatal before spring ever arrives. Yet one predator does not merely survive these brutal conditions because the Siberian tiger has evolved to dominate one of the coldest forests inhabited by any big cat on the planet. The Siberian tiger lives primarily within the vast taiga forests of Russia's Far East, with smaller populations extending into northeastern China, where endless pine, fir, and birch forests create one of Earth's harshest natural environments. Winter often lasts nearly half the year, covering the landscape with deep snow and forcing wildlife to adapt or disappear beneath the unforgiving pressure of extreme cold. Every feature of the Siberian tiger reflects thousands of years of evolution, perfectly shaping its body for life in this frozen wilderness. One of its greatest adaptations is its remarkable winter coat. which grows noticeably thicker and longer than the fur of tigers living in warmer climates, trapping countless tiny pockets of air close to the skin that act as natural insulation against freezing winds. Around the neck, chest, and belly, the fur becomes even denser, allowing the tiger to remain active during bitter nights when temperatures continue falling, far below freezing. Beneath this protective coat lies a thick layer of body fat that stores valuable energy while reducing heat loss during long periods when successful hunts become increasingly difficult. Its large, broad paws function almost like natural snowshoes by spreading the tiger's weight across deep snow, preventing it from sinking too far, while allowing silent movement across frozen landscapes where other predators would struggle to travel efficiently. Thick fur growing between the toes provides additional insulation while improving grip on slippery ice, making every step more stable during long-distance travel through the taiga. Even its relatively small ears reduce exposed surface area, helping conserve precious body heat, in accordance with the same evolutionary principles seen in many cold-climate animals. Hunting inside the frozen taiga demands patience rather than endless pursuit, because chasing prey through deep snow would waste enormous amounts of energy with no guarantee of success. Instead, the Siberian tiger stalks silently through dense forests, using every tree, shadow, and patch of vegetation as cover, while sometimes following prey for hundreds of meters before launching its attack. When the moment finally arrives, the ambush lasts only seconds, as explosive strength replaces prolonged speed, allowing the tiger to conserve energy while maximizing every opportunity. Its preferred prey includes red deer, roe deer, wild boar, and occasionally even large elk, all of which provide enough food to sustain the tiger for several days after a successful hunt. The tiger often drags its kill into hidden cover before returning repeatedly to feed until almost nothing remains, reducing unnecessary hunting during periods when prey becomes difficult to locate. Every successful hunt represents not only strength, but careful energy management, an essential survival strategy within one of the planet's harshest ecosystems. Camouflage remains another extraordinary adaptation because the tiger's famous black stripes blend surprisingly well with tree trunks, broken branches, and shifting forest shadows despite the surrounding snow-covered landscape. Rather than matching the white environment directly, the striped pattern disrupts the animal's outline, making it remarkably difficult for prey to recognize a stalking predator until it is already too late. This natural disguise demonstrates that successful camouflage depends more upon breaking visual shape than simply copying surrounding colors. Unlike lions that depend upon pride structures, Siberian tigers live alone across enormous territories that may stretch for hundreds or even thousands of square kilometers, depending on prey availability throughout the region. They communicate through scent markings, scratch marks on trees, and occasional vocalizations, reducing unnecessary confrontations that could cause injuries difficult to survive during harsh winters. In such an unforgiving environment, avoiding dangerous conflicts becomes just as important as finding enough food to stay alive. Every adaptation works together as a complete survival system, from insulating fur and stored body fat to broad snow-ready paws. Heat-conserving ears, remarkable camouflage, immense strength, and extraordinary patience developed over millions of years of natural selection. No single feature allows the Siberian tiger to dominate the frozen taiga, because its success comes from countless evolutionary refinements working together with remarkable efficiency. This perfect combination has created one of the greatest cold-weather predators nature has ever produced. Even today, the Siberian tiger remains one of the rarest big cats on Earth. With conservation efforts helping populations recover despite continuing threats from habitat loss and illegal poaching across its shrinking range, protecting this magnificent predator also protects one of the planet's last great wilderness ecosystems, where evolution continues to display its extraordinary power through one remarkable animal. Because within Russia's frozen taiga, the Siberian tiger is not simply surviving against impossible odds, but living exactly where millions of years of evolution intended it to reign. Hidden beneath floating vegetation, inside muddy rivers, and within the silent swamps of the Amazon, lurks one of the most powerful reptiles on Earth. It does not chase prey across great distances, rely on venom, or depend on incredible speed to survive in one of the world's harshest environments. Instead, the green anaconda waits in complete silence, almost invisible beneath the water, until one perfect opportunity changes everything. Deep within the flooded forests of the Amazon basin, where winding rivers and dense wetlands stretch for hundreds of kilometers, the green anaconda has perfected one of nature's most effective ambush strategies. Like active hunters that constantly search for food, this giant snake allows the rainforest itself to bring prey directly into striking range. Every animal eventually approaches the water to drink, cool down, or cross the flooded landscape. And that predictable behavior gives the anaconda its greatest advantage. Its olive green scales covered with dark circular blotches blend almost perfectly into muddy water, floating plants, tangled vegetation surrounding the riverbanks. Often only its eyes and nostrils remain above the surface, allowing it to observe everything while revealing almost nothing of its enormous body. To an approaching capybara, deer, caiman, or large bird, the snake simply disappears into the environment until the moment it decides to strike. When the opportunity arrives, everything happens with astonishing speed despite the enormous size of the predator waiting beneath the surface. Powerful jaws seize the prey in an instant. Before the victim can fully react, massive muscular coils wrap tightly around its body from every direction. What follows is not chaos, but an incredibly efficient hunting process refined through millions of years of evolution. Many people believe giant constrictor snakes crush the bones of their prey, but scientific research has shown that the reality is even more remarkable. Each time the trapped animal exhales, the anaconda tightens its coils slightly, gradually restricting blood circulation until oxygen can no longer reach vital organs effectively. Within a surprisingly short period, the prey loses consciousness, allowing the snake to feed, while expending far less energy than predators that rely on prolonged struggles. Almost every part of the green anaconda's body is built for raw power, with hundreds of vertebrae connected by extraordinarily strong muscles that function together like a living hydraulic system. Rather than depending on explosive speed, the snake relies on leverage, endurance, and overwhelming constricting force to overpower animals much larger than many people would expect. This incredible muscular design allows it to remain one of the strongest reptiles on Earth, despite spending much of its life hidden from view. Water transforms the anaconda into an even more efficient predator because the flooded environment supports its massive weight while allowing it to move with surprising speed and silence. Glides effortlessly through submerged vegetation, remains hidden beneath floating plants for hours, and positions itself perfectly for an ambush without wasting unnecessary energy. Adult green anacondas have been recorded feeding on capybaras, caimans, deer, wild pigs, large birds, and many other sizable animals that venture too close to the water's edge. Locating prey inside muddy rivers where visibility is almost non-existent requires extraordinary sensory adaptations that continue working even in complete darkness. The snake constantly flicks its tongue to collect chemical particles that are analyzed by the Jacobson's organ, while specialized receptors detect subtle temperature differences and sensitive muscles recognize the smallest vibrations traveling through the water. Together, these remarkable senses allow the anaconda to locate prey with astonishing precision long before the victim realizes danger is nearby. Despite becoming one of the largest snakes on Earth, the green anaconda remains one of the least observed major predators because it spends most of its life hidden within remote wetlands, flooded forests and dense rainforest vegetation that scientists can rarely access isolate. Popular films and stories often portray it as a relentless man-eater, yet verified attacks on humans remain exceptionally rare, as these snakes generally avoid people whenever possible. Their extraordinary success comes not from constant aggression, but from patience, camouflage, overwhelming strength, and an ambush strategy refined by evolution over countless generations. The green anaconda never needed venom because evolution provided something equally effective through silence. Concealment and unmatched constricting power beneath the waters of the Amazon rainforest. Hidden beneath floating vegetation and surrounded by muddy rivers, it waits with extraordinary patience until nature delivers the perfect opportunity directly into its grasp. In the flooded forests of South America, the most dangerous predator is often not the one making the most noise, but the one you never see until it is already far too late. The Amazon rainforest is one of the most biodiverse places on Earth, stretching across millions of square kilometers and holding an almost unimaginable variety of life. Within its dense green canopy exist millions of species of plants, insects, fish, and animals, many of which are still not fully documented or understood. Even after centuries of exploration, vast regions of the Amazon remain scientifically incomplete, as if the forest itself refuses to fully reveal its secrets. And even the species that are known continue to challenge what we think we understand about nature. Among the most fascinating and mysterious creatures of this ecosystem is the electric eel, a fish capable of producing powerful electrical discharges that can be used for hunting, navigation, and communication. Despite its name, it is not a true eel, but a type of knifefish with specialized organs designed to generate and control electricity. In some situations, these electrical pulses can be strong enough to stun prey instantly, making it one of the most unique biological weapons in nature. What makes the electric eel truly mysterious is not just its ability to generate electricity, but the precision with which it controls different electrical signals. Scientists are still trying to understand how its specialized organs coordinate these discharges so accurately within its body. Even more intriguing is how such a complex bioelectric system evolved in a freshwater environment with such efficiency. The electric eel remains one of nature's most advanced living electrical systems. Another strange and ancient-looking creature of the Amazon is the hoatzin, often referred to as a living fossil due to its unusual evolutionary traits. This bird looks almost prehistoric, with features that feel out of place in the modern bird world. Unlike most birds, it has a highly unusual digestive system that relies on fermentation inside a specialized stomach chamber, similar to the digestive process found in cows rather than birds. This unusual adaptation makes the hoatzin one of the most biologically unique birds in existence, and scientists are still studying how such a system evolved over time. While most bird species evolve toward lighter and more efficient digestion, the hoatzin retains this complex and energy-intensive process. This evolutionary path raises important questions about survival pressures in the Amazon, environment, and why certain species evolved in such unexpected directions. The third mysterious creature is the Amazon river dolphin, also known as the pink river dolphin, which lives in one of the most complex freshwater systems on the planet. Unlike ocean dolphins that navigate open waters, this species moves through narrow, murky river channels where visibility is extremely limited. Because of these conditions, it relies heavily on advanced echolocation abilities to sense its surroundings and locate prey. What makes the Amazon river dolphin especially fascinating is its intelligence and complex behavior within social groups. Researchers continue to study how these dolphins communicate, interact, and adapt to constantly changing river environments. Despite being known to science for many years, many aspects of their cognition and social structure remain unclear, leaving large gaps in our understanding of their behavior. Deep within the Amazon waterways, countless species remain partially documented or entirely unknown, hidden beneath layers of dense vegetation and shifting river systems. Some are only observed briefly before disappearing again into inaccessible regions of the forest. This constant cycle of discovery and loss creates an environment where science is always one step behind nature itself. The deeper researchers go, the more questions seem to appear. Another important aspect of the Amazon is how its ecosystem shapes unusual survival adaptations across different species, harsh conditions, competition for resources, and dense environmental pressure force animals to evolve highly specialized traits. These adaptations often appear strange or even alien when compared to species in other parts of the world. It is this evolutionary pressure that creates such extraordinary biological diversity. Scientists believe that many Amazon species still remain completely undiscovered, especially in the most remote and inaccessible regions of the rainforest. Some areas are so dense and complex that even modern technology struggles to map or analyze them properly. This means entire ecosystems could exist without human observation, quietly evolving beyond our current understanding. The Amazon is also home to complex interdependent relationships between predators, prey, and environmental conditions that constantly shift over time. These relationships form a delicate balance where even small changes can influence entire food chains. Studying these interactions is extremely difficult because of the rainforest's scale and density, which hides much of this activity from direct observation. Even well-known species in the Amazon continue to surprise researchers with behaviors that were previously unknown or misunderstood. New discoveries often challenge existing scientific assumptions and force revisions of biological models. This constant evolution of knowledge shows how limited human understanding still is when it comes to large and complex ecosystems like this one. The rainforest itself acts like a living laboratory where evolution is continuously unfolding in real time. Species adapt not just over long evolutionary periods, but also in response to immediate environmental pressures. This dynamic process makes the Amazon one of the most scientifically valuable and unpredictable regions on Earth. Despite decades of research, large portions of the Amazon remain uncharted or only partially explored due to its size, density, and environmental complexity. Satellite imaging helps, but it cannot fully capture the biological detail hidden beneath the canopy and river systems. This limitation ensures that the rainforest still holds countless secrets beyond human reach. And perhaps that is what makes the Amazon so powerful as a natural system. It is not a fully understood environment, but a constantly evolving mystery that continues to reshape scientific knowledge. Every discovery reveals something new, but also exposes even deeper unknowns waiting beneath the surface. So the real question is not what we already know about the Amazon, but how much still remains completely hidden. Because deep within its endless green expanse, nature continues to evolve in silence, holding secrets that may take generations to fully uncover.
टिप करना था ना तुझे, तू टिप कर ले, मेरा गला सूख रहा है। वो देख, ये गर्म कपड़े क्यों पहने हैं? कुछ पीने को है। ठंडी वो हवाएं मेरा दिल जिन्हें पुकारे सारी लगा दे अब लगे बस एक मिनट बस Forrest! Whoa! Yo, man. 7-Up mint lemonade, एक mint made of fresh mint.
This world feels dangerous. But if you look into the past, it was far more terrifying. Long before humans walked the earth, this planet belonged to something else. Creatures that ruled everything. Land, sea, and sky. They weren't just big, they were dominant. Perfectly adapted. Built to survive anything. For millions of years, nothing could stop them. No rivals, no limits. And then they disappeared, not slowly. Not gradually, but suddenly, leaving behind fossils, fragments of bone, and one massive question. What happened? What could erase creatures that ruled the entire planet? Let's begin. At number 7, a predator that didn't belong to just one world. Spinosaurus, not just a land dinosaur, not just a water hunter, both. A creature built for two worlds. Its long snout, filled with conical teeth. Perfect for gripping fish, but it wasn't harmless. Far from it. Over 50 feet long, massive, heavy, powerful. Larger than many predators we fear today. And then, the sail, rising from its back. Huge, unmatched. Some say it controlled heat. Others say it was for display. Or intimidation. But no one knows for sure. It ruled ancient rivers. In what is now North Africa. Completely different world back then. Lush, wet, alive, but environments change. Rivers shift, ecosystems collapse, and even something like Spinosaurus couldn't survive forever. At number 6, the ultimate ocean predator, Megalodon. This wasn't just a shark, it was a force, a moving weapon. Over 60 feet long, teeth the size of your hand. Rows of them, its bite. Strong enough to crush bone instantly. It hunted whales, full-grown giants, taken down with ease. For millions of years, nothing challenged it. It dominated the ocean completely, and then vanished. No warning, no clear answer. Some say climate change, others say prey disappeared. But the truth is still unknown. At number 5, a sea monster of pure speed. Mosasaurus, a marine reptile, built for power. Its body sliced through water effortlessly, its jaws, lined with razor teeth, designed to tear, not bite. It ruled the oceans during the age of dinosaurs, but then everything changed. 66 million years ago, an asteroid hit Earth, massive, unstoppable. The sky turned dark. Sunlight disappeared, temperatures dropped, food chains collapsed. The oceans changed forever, and Mosasaurus could not adapt. At number 4, crocodile unlike anything alive today. Sarcosuchus, a giant, 40 feet long, heavy like a tank. It ruled rivers that no longer exist because the Sahara was once green, full of water, full of life. And Sarcosuchus was at the top. Anything that came close was hunted. So did the giant. At number 3, a predator you might recognize, but far more dangerous. Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat.
Massive fangs, longer than your hand, not for chewing or killing. It hunted massive prey, bison, ancient horses, even young mammoths. It was built for power, short bursts, deadly precision. But then the Ice Age ended, temperatures rose, habitats changed, prey disappeared. Without food,
Even the strongest falls, Smilodon, went extinct. At number 2, something almost unreal, Titanoboa, the largest snake ever, over 40 feet long, heavy, silent. It didn't chase. It waited, hidden in dark water, still patient. Then suddenly, it struck, wrapping around prey, crushing it slowly. Even crocodiles are not safe. But Titanoboa needed heat, much hotter Earth. As the planet cooled, its world disappeared. And so did it. At number 1, the ruler of the sky. Quetzalcoatlus, a flying giant. Wingspan over 30 feet. As wide as a small plane, it didn't just fly, it dominated the air, soaring across continents, searching, hunting, watching. Nothing like it exists today, and like many before it, it faced the same ending as the asteroid, the darkness, the collapse and extinction. So now the question remains, were these creatures just victims of natural change? Or was something bigger at play? Because if something powerful enough to erase giants once existed, what if it happens again? And what if next time it's not them, it's us? Coastal fishing communities began reporting unusual disturbances in shallow waters. At first, the incidents were minor. Unexplained ripples, sudden turbulence, moments where the water seemed to shift. Without wind, local fishermen assumed simple causes. Weather patterns, equipment issues, navigation mistakes. But the pattern didn't stop. It escalated. Small boats began returning damaged. Hull markings appeared deep, irregular, and unlike any known marine contact. Then vessels started disappearing. Not drifting, not sinking with debris, vanishing. No wreckage recovered. No distress signals transmitted, no survivors found. The silence was the most concerning detail, because even in catastrophic failure, there is usually evidence. Here there was none. Authorities initiated a marine surveillance operation. Controlled investigation zone was established across the affected coastal region. Drones were deployed first. Surface units scanned for anomalies. Underwater sensors followed shortly after. The environment appeared normal. Clear water, stable currents, no immediate threat indicators. But beneath the surface, something was active. Sonar systems began detecting irregular signals. First, the readings were dismissed as interference, as unstable reflections, false echoes. But repeated scans revealed consistency. A large biological mass, moving, not drifting with currents, not behaving like a school of fish. It was controlled, intentional. Its movement patterns were unlike any known marine species. Rapid acceleration, instant directional changes, sudden disappearance from sonar range, then reappearance in a completely different position. It was not just moving, it was maneuvering. Tracking systems attempted to follow it, but the object reacted, as if it was aware of being observed. Then the first visual confirmation occurred. An underwater drone captured partial footage. Only a few seconds, but enough. A shape moved across the frame, not fully visible. It's not clearly defined, but identifiable. A hybrid form, it's combining features that should not exist together. Streamlined like a shark, armored like a crocodile, the jaw structure far larger than either. The footage ended abruptly. Signal loss, then silence. The investigation escalated immediately. Additional drones were deployed, higher frequency sonar systems activated. Surface vessels repositioned for containment observation. This time the entity did not remain hidden. It approached. Slowly at first. circling beneath one of the surveillance boats, unseen but detected intermittently. Sonar signals fluctuated. Distance readings shifted rapidly. It was moving in tight patterns, studying the vessel from below. Then it struck. The water's surface erupted violently. A shockwave pushed outward from the impact point. Sensors overloaded instantly. Monitoring equipment failed under sudden pressure spikes. The drone feed distorted. Visual clarity collapsed into static and turbulence. For a brief moment, the creature surfaced partially. Its form became visible through the chaos. A massive hybrid organism. Layered armor plating along its body. Hydrodynamic structure built for speed. A jawline expanded beyond natural proportions. Its movement was controlled, not random, not instinctive. Calculated. Then it submerged again. It's gone beneath the surface within seconds. Tracking systems attempted to reacquire the signal, but failed. No sonar contact, no movement detection, no thermal trace, as if it had completely disappeared. All systems in the area began to malfunction shortly after. Signal interference increased, communication delays expanded, navigation systems became unreliable. The entire operation zone was compromised. Within hours, the coastal region was officially restricted. No civilian access, no fishing activity, no maritime transit allowed. But even after closure, reports continued. Distant water disturbances, unexplained surface movement, occasional sonar echoes brief, then gone. Scientific analysis produced multiple theories. Some suggested extreme evolutionary convergence. Others proposed a deep-sea organism adapting rapidly to shallow water conditions. But both explanations lacked evidence, because no known species behaves this way. No known organism avoids detection so precisely, or disables tracking systems so effectively. And no confirmed specimen has ever been recovered. Which leaves one unresolved question. What exactly is moving beneath those waters, where depth is no longer required, for something to remain hidden? Earth contains places so strange, they almost feel impossible, with locations where compasses malfunction. Forests where silence feels unnatural. Ancient structures nobody fully understands. And environments that seem more like science fiction than reality. Despite satellites, advanced science, and modern exploration, many places on Earth still remain mysterious, continuing to confuse scientists, explorers, and travelers even today. One of the most famous mysterious locations is the Bermuda Triangle, a region in the Atlantic Ocean connected to stories of missing ships and aircraft for decades, beneath unpredictable skies and violent seas. Some researchers believe unusual magnetic activity may affect navigation systems there, while others point towards storms, underwater trenches, dangerous ocean currents, as more realistic explanations for many disappearances. But the sheer number of strange stories surrounding the region transformed the Bermuda Triangle into one of the world's greatest mystery legends, and people still debate what truly happens there. Another deeply unsettling location is Hoja Buciu Forest in Romania, often called one of the most haunted forests on Earth because of its twisted trees, heavy fog, and unnaturally silent atmosphere at night. Visitors have reported glowing lights moving between the trees, sudden anxiety, electronic malfunctions, nausea, and even missing periods of time after walking through certain areas of the forest. Scientists believe darkness, isolation, psychological pressure may influence these experiences, but the eerie atmosphere continues fueling paranormal theories around the world. Far into the Pacific Ocean stands another legendary mystery with the Moai statues of Easter Island, where nearly 1,000 giant stone figures stand across isolated volcanic terrain facing silently toward the horizon. Some statues weigh more than 80 tons, yet ancient people transported them across the island without cranes, engines, or modern technology, creating one of history's greatest engineering mysteries. Researchers believe ropes and coordinated movement may have allowed the statues to walk upright, but the exact methods still remain debated even today. Another mysterious place rises high within the Himalayas. Mount Kailash, a sacred mountain in Tibet, believed by several religions to possess extraordinary spiritual power and energy. Unlike most famous mountains, climbing Mount Kailash is traditionally forbidden, and Pilgrims instead travel around the mountain during long spiritual journeys through the harsh landscape. Many visitors describe unusual experiences there, including feelings of emotional intensity, disorientation, an overwhelming atmosphere caused either by spirituality, altitude, or human psychology. Deep beneath the ocean, near Japan, lies the Yanaguni Monument, an underwater formation resembling giant staircases, platforms, and carved stone walls hidden beneath the sea. Some scientists argue the structure formed naturally through geological fracturing and earthquakes, while others believe its sharp angles and layered appearance suggest ancient human construction. If humans truly created it, the monument could be thousands of years older than many known civilizations, which is why the debate continues today. Another eerie location exists near Mount Fuji in Japan, the Aokigahara Forest, Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Sea of Trees, where dense forest growth spreads across ancient volcanic rock beneath an unusually silent atmosphere. Compasses can behave strangely there because of magnetic minerals underground, while thick vegetation heavily muffles sound and creates an isolated feeling, even during daytime. Many visitors describe the silence as deeply unsettling, making the forest one of the most mysterious and psychologically disturbing places in the world. Across the deserts of Peru lie the Nazca Lines, enormous shapes and symbols carved into the earth thousands of years ago, across vast stretches of dry desert terrain. Some depict animals, birds, and geometric designs visible only from high above the ground, despite being created long before airplanes ever existed. Scientists believe the lines may have served astronomical, ceremonial, or religious purposes. But nobody fully understands why ancient civilizations created them on such an enormous scale. One of the most recognizable mysterious structures on Earth is Stonehenge in England, where giant standing stones form a circular monument aligned precisely with the movement of the sun. Some stones weigh more than 20 tons and were transported across huge distances, thousands of years ago using methods still not fully understood. Researchers believe Stonehenge may have functioned as a calendar, as a ceremonial site, or religious structure, but its original purpose remains uncertain even now. In Antarctica, another bizarre phenomenon exists, called bloodfalls, where bright red water flows from deep inside glacier ice beneath one of the coldest environments on Earth. Scientists discover the color comes from iron-rich salt water trapped beneath the glacier for millions of years, reacting with oxygen once exposed to the surface air. Even with a scientific explanation, the site still looks almost supernatural against the frozen white landscape. And finally, Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia transforms into one of the most unreal landscapes on Earth during rainy seasons. When shallow water turns the giant salt flat into a perfect natural mirror, clouds, sunsets, and stars reflect across the surface so perfectly that the horizon almost disappears completely, making it feel like standing inside another dimension. The truth is simple. Earth still contains places humans do not fully understand, with mysteries connected to ancient civilizations, geology, weather, psychology, and natural phenomena beyond ordinary experience. Humanity has mapped continents, explored oceans, and reached space itself. Yet mystery still exists across our own planet in places capable of inspiring legends and confusing science at the same time. So what hidden explanations still remain undiscovered beneath forests, under oceans, and across forgotten landscapes? Because even today, Earth still contains places we do not fully understand. The world still contains creatures that feel impossible, animals hidden in darkness, living in places humans rarely explore. Some look ancient, others appear completely alien, and a few are so terrifying, they seem more like monsters than real living creatures. Because even today, scientists continue discovering life forms that challenge everything humans thought they understood about Earth. Deep beneath the ocean surface, where sunlight completely disappears, one massive predator still survives: the giant squid. For centuries, sailors described enormous tentacled creatures rising from dark waters during storms. Most people believed those stories were myths, until evidence finally proved the creature was real. The giant squid can grow to terrifying sizes with massive eyes designed to detect movement in total darkness. And despite modern technology, humans have rarely filmed them alive. Most sightings happen accidentally, far below the ocean, places almost impossible to explore. Some researchers believe even larger unknown species may still exist in deeper regions humans have never reached. And considering how little of the ocean has been explored, that possibility feels disturbingly realistic. Another creature feels even stranger, the goblin shark, a predator with pale skin, long blade-like snout, a horrifying jaw that launches forward suddenly when attacking prey. Watching it move feels unnatural, it's almost mechanical. Scientists call it a living fossil because its species has survived for millions of years with almost no evolutionary changes. Meaning creatures nearly identical to this monster existed long before humans appeared on Earth, and somehow they still survive hidden in darkness beneath the sea. Then there's the anglerfish, one of the most terrifying animals ever discovered. This deep-sea predator uses a glowing bioluminescent lure attached to its head to attract prey through complete darkness. Small fish swim closer toward the light without realizing death is waiting directly behind it. Its massive teeth, empty black eyes, and horrifying appearance feel less like nature, more like something created for nightmares. And yet, it's completely real. Some mysterious creatures aren't terrifying because they attack. They're terrifying because they shouldn't even exist, like the coelacanth. For decades, scientists believed this fish went extinct over 60 million years ago alongside dinosaurs. Then suddenly, one was discovered alive, almost unchanged from ancient fossil records. A living creature humans believed had vanished forever. Its rediscovery shocked scientists worldwide because it proved something deeply unsettling. Earth may still hide species humans know absolutely nothing about, especially in places difficult to explore. A few places remain more mysterious than the deep ocean. Another strange creature hidden there is the Dumbo octopus, a rare octopus living thousands of feet below the surface. Its small fins resemble ears, giving it an oddly unreal appearance. Instead of crawling aggressively like most octopuses, it drifts slowly through darkness, almost like an alien life form floating through space. Some animals inspired ancient legends long before science explained them, like the oarfish, a massive serpent-like creature capable of growing to enormous lengths. Its silver body twists through deep water with movements that resemble sea monster myths from ancient stories. Even land creatures can feel disturbing. The eye is one of the strangest primates alive. Large, glowing eyes, thin, elongated fingers, and unnatural movements that made people fear it for centuries. Then comes one of Earth's closest things to a real dragon, the Komodo dragon. Massive claws, armored scales, powerful venomous bite, and the ability to track prey over long distances. Watching one move across dry landscapes feels prehistoric, as if dinosaurs never truly disappeared. But perhaps the most unbelievable creature is the narwhal, a whale with a giant spiral tusk extending from its head. For centuries, people thought narwhal tusks belonged to mythical unicorns. Even today, seeing one swimming through icy Arctic waters looks almost unreal. And finally, the Japanese spider crab, one of the largest crabs ever discovered. Its enormous legs stretch outward like something from a nightmare crawling across the ocean floor. But the truth is, all of these creatures are real, because humans still know very little about the planet they live on. Most of Earth's oceans remain unexplored. Dark regions beneath the sea continue hiding unknown life forms. And every year, new species are discovered in places humans rarely reach, meaning something even stranger could still exist somewhere beneath the darkness right now, waiting to be discovered. The unknown isn't somewhere else. It's already here on Earth. Across Africa's scorching plains, where lions finish a hunt and vultures begin circling overhead, another giant silently descends from the sky without wasting unnecessary energy. It does not chase antelope across the savannah or compete in exhausting pursuits, but instead watches patiently from above until death creates the perfect opportunity. Then one of nature's most efficient cleanup specialists arrives, the remarkable marabou stork, a bird built not for beauty but for survival. Standing up to 1.5 meters, or nearly 5 feet tall, with a wingspan stretching around 3.2 meters, or 10.5 feet, the marabou stork ranks among Africa's largest flying birds with an unforgettable appearance. Its featherless head, long powerful legs, dark wings, massive spear-like bill, and hanging throat pouch combine to create a creature that looks almost prehistoric from every angle. While many people describe it as ugly, every unusual feature has evolved to perform a specific function that increases its chances of survival. One of the marabou's most unusual adaptations is its completely bald head, which may appear strange at first but becomes remarkably practical for a bird that feeds inside animal carcasses. Feathers around the face would trap blood, tissue, and harmful bacteria, making feeding both messy and dangerous, whereas bare skin remains much easier to keep clean after every meal. This simple evolutionary adaptation helps reduce contamination while allowing the bird to continue feeding safely in conditions that would challenge many other species. Its enormous spear-like bill is another specialized survival tool, strong enough to tear through soft tissue quickly before larger scavengers claim the remaining carcass for themselves. The expandable throat pouch also allows the marabou stork to swallow surprisingly large pieces of food within a very short period, giving it an advantage whenever competition becomes intense. Every carcass becomes a race against time because vultures, hyenas, jackals, and other scavengers are never far behind. Unlike many birds that search constantly from the ground, the marabou spends long hours soaring effortlessly on warm rising air currents known as thermals, while conserving as much energy as possible. From high above the African landscape, it watches carefully for predators gathering around fresh kills or follows. Vultures already descending toward potential feeding opportunities. This remarkable patience allows the bird to travel vast distances with very little effort while dramatically increasing its chances of finding food. Although famous as a scavenger, the marabou stork is far from helpless and will actively hunt whenever an easy opportunity presents itself in its environment. Fish, frogs, rodents, young birds, reptiles, and large insects all become potential prey. While the bird will also steal food from other animals whenever possible without hesitation. Its survival strategy is simple and incredibly effective. Never waste an opportunity regardless of where the next meal comes from. This flexible feeding behavior allows marabou storks to thrive across wetlands, rivers, lakes, fishing villages, slaughterhouses, rubbish dumps, and many other environments where dependable food sources regularly exist. They quickly learn which locations provide reliable meals and adapt their movements accordingly. Demonstrating intelligence alongside remarkable survival instincts developed over millions of years, their ability to live successfully near expanding human populations has helped maintain healthy numbers across much of their natural African range. Life as a scavenger is never easy, because every carcass attracts fierce competition from vultures descending out of the sky, hyenas approaching from the ground, jackals searching for scraps, and other marabou storks joining the feast. Success depends on perfect timing, persistence, awareness, and making the most of every opportunity before stronger competitors claim their remaining food. The marabou does not always dominate these encounters, but thanks to its adaptability and patience, it rarely leaves hungry. Perhaps the marabou stork's greatest contribution is the important ecological role it performs by consuming dead animals and helping recycle valuable nutrients back into the surrounding ecosystem. Working alongside vultures, insects, bacteria, and countless other scavengers, it reduces the amount of decaying organic material left across the landscape while helping maintain the natural balance of the environment. Without these specialized cleanup animals, carcasses would remain much longer, altering nutrient cycles and creating more opportunities for harmful microbes to multiply. The marabou stork may never be admired for its appearance, and its feeding habits may seem unsettling to those seeing it for the first time. But behind that intimidating look stands one of Africa's most efficient survivors. Every unusual feature, every behavior, and every adaptation has been refined by evolution to perform one of nature's most essential jobs with extraordinary effectiveness across the wild. Sometimes the creatures we fear the most are quietly performing the vital work that keeps entire ecosystems healthy, balanced, and alive for countless other species. The world is full of myths, stories of creatures so strange they feel impossible. But what if those stories were based on reality? What if ancient humans weren't imagining things, but remembering them? Let's explore 7 mythical creatures that may have once walked the earth. Giant serpents. Almost every ancient culture talks about massive snakes, from Asian legends to ancient Egypt, from South America to Africa. Stories repeat the same idea: a giant snake, It's longer than anything alive today. Powerful, silent, unstoppable. This isn't coincidence. Millions of years ago, Titanoboa existed. A snake over 40 feet long, weighing more than a car, didn't chase its prey. It waited. Hidden in swamps, it's barely visible in dark water, until the moment came. Then suddenly it struck, not with venom, but with pressure. It wrapped around its prey, tighter and tighter, until breathing stopped, until the heart slowed, everything went silent. And here's the unsettling part. Titanoboa wasn't the only one. Fossils of massive snakes have been discovered in regions like the Indian subcontinent, meaning giant serpents were once common predators on this planet. Not myths, but reality. Yeti and Bigfoot. Stories of a large, human-like creature exist all over the world. It's different continents, different cultures, but the same description. Tall, erect, hair-covered, walking on two legs, watching from a distance. In the Himalayas, it's called the Yeti. In North America, Bigfoot, in forests, in mountains, in remote regions. Sightings continue even today. Most are dismissed. Blurry photos, unclear footprints. Easy to doubt. But science reveals something strange, long before modern humans. Other human-like species walked the earth. Some looked very different. Species like Australopithecus walked upright, hair-covered bodies, long arms, primitive faces. Not quite human, not quite animal. Now imagine a small population surviving, hidden deep in forests, avoiding humans. Would we even know? Or would we call it a myth? Unicorn. The unicorn is often seen as pure fantasy, a magical horse with a glowing horn. But ancient carvings tell a different story. Early civilizations didn't draw fantasy creatures randomly. They drew what they saw, what they believed once existed. A creature called Elasmotherium once lived. A massive prehistoric rhino, covered in thick fur, a huge horn on its head. Not small, not elegant, but powerful. Some scientists believe this horn could grow over 3 feet long. Imagine seeing that from a distance, through fog or snow. Thousands of years ago, no cameras, no science, just fear and imagination. That's how legends begin. Sea monsters. The ocean is still mostly unexplored. Dark.
And endless.
Silent. Humans have always feared what lies beneath. Stories of giant creatures, massive tentacles, eyes glowing in darkness, dragging ships into the deep. In fiction, creatures like Cthulhu represent this fear, but reality isn't far behind. Millions of years ago, the oceans were ruled by giants. These creatures far larger than anything alive today. Massive predators, perfectly designed for killing. Some hunted in open water, others hid in darkness, waiting. And then they disappeared. After mass extinction events, entire ecosystems vanished. But here's the question. Did everything disappear? Or did something survive? In the depths we still haven't explored. Dragons, fire-breathing, winged beasts, symbols of power and destruction. Dragons appear in almost every culture, but why? How did civilizations with no connection imagine the same creature? The answer might be bones. Ancient humans often discovered massive skeletons, huge skulls, giant ribs, teeth bigger than hands. Without science, they had to explain it somehow, so they created dragons. But they weren't completely wrong. Creatures like Quetzalcoatlus actually existed, a flying reptile,
Owl with a wingspan.
as wide as a small plane, walking on land and soaring through the sky. To ancient humans, that's a dragon. Dwarfs. Legends describe small human-like beings living in hidden places, caves, mountains, isolated lands for centuries. These stories were ignored until something changed. Scientists discovered a real species, Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbit. They were extremely short, about the height of a child, but fully capable of walking upright, using tools, surviving in isolation. They lived on remote islands, cut off from the rest of the world, evolving differently, smaller, but still human, so maybe. Those ancient stories were an imagination. Loch Ness Monster. For over 1,000 years, people have reported seeing something strange in a Scottish lake. A long neck, a massive body, moving silently through the water. Most dismiss it as a hoax, but the description feels familiar, because millions of years ago, creatures like plesiosaurs existed. Long necks, large bodies, swimming through ancient oceans. They match the sightings almost perfectly. So what are people seeing? A surviving species, hidden in deep waters, or something else entirely? The truth is, many myths aren't completely fictional. They are fragments of something real. Stories passed down, changed, distorted, over thousands of years, and maybe, just maybe, not all of those creatures are gone. Some might still exist, waiting, in places we haven't fully explored, watching, silent. The past is not as stable as people think. Every few years, something is discovered that forces historians and scientists to question everything they believed about human civilization, evolution, or even reality itself. A hidden structure beneath the ocean, forgotten species buried underground, ancient technology far older than expected, or evidence that humanity's story may be far more complicated than anyone imagined. These are some of the discoveries that completely changed history. One of the most mysterious discoveries ever uncovered is the ancient site of Göbekli Tepe discovery in modern-day Turkey. Buried beneath the earth for thousands of years, the site contains massive carved stone pillars arranged in giant circular formations. What shocked archaeologists most was its age over. Down, 11,000 years old, older than many civilizations once believed to be the first advanced societies. Before this discovery, historians thought humans only built large monuments after agriculture and permanent cities appeared. But Göbekli Tepe suggested something completely different. Humans may have organized into large religious or social groups long before farming even existed. The discovery forced experts to rethink the very origins of civilization. Another discovery that stunned scientists came from deep beneath the ocean, the coelacanth. For decades, it was believed to have gone extinct over 60 million years ago. Then, in 1938, a living specimen was discovered near the coast of South Africa, shocking the scientific world. A creature thought lost since the age of dinosaurs had been surviving in deep ocean waters all along. The discovery became a powerful reminder of how much of Earth remains unexplored. Another breakthrough completely transformed humanity's understanding of human evolution. The discovery of the Denisovans in a remote Siberian cave. Tiny fragments of bone and teeth revealed through DNA analysis that they belonged to an entirely unknown human species. Before this, human evolution was thought to be relatively simple. Instead, scientists learned that multiple human species once lived alongside each other, and even interbred. Human history suddenly became far more complex than anyone expected. Another controversial mystery lies beneath the waters near Japan, the Yonaguni Monument. Massive underwater formations with stair-like structures and sharp edges continue to divide researchers. Some believe they are natural formations, while others argue they could be evidence of an ancient submerged civilization. If artificial, the site could challenge modern timelines of ancient engineering entirely. One of the most important discoveries connected to religion and history is the Dead Sea Scrolls discovery. Hidden inside desert caves for nearly 2,000 years, these scrolls preserved ancient religious texts and historical writings older than many known manuscripts. They provided unprecedented insight into ancient languages, beliefs, and how sacred texts evolved over time through copying and translation. Frozen beneath the Alps, another extraordinary discovery emerged. See the Iceman, perfectly preserved human body over 5,000 years old. His clothing, tools, weapons, tattoos, and even stomach contents were studied in detail. The findings revealed that prehistoric humans had more advanced survival knowledge and tools than previously assumed. Another enduring mystery is Stonehenge construction, gigantic stones arranged with remarkable precision, some transported from hundreds of kilometers away. Moving such massive objects without modern machinery required extraordinary coordination and engineering skill. The discovery challenged long-held assumptions about ancient societies being technologically limited. Across the Pacific Ocean, the Moai statues of Easter Island revealed another hidden truth. For years, only their giant heads were visible. Later excavations revealed full bodies buried underground, along with carvings and structural details that reshaped understanding of the civilization that built them. In China, farmers digging a well uncovered one of the greatest archaeological finds in history, the Terracotta Army discovery. Thousands of life-size warriors buried for over 2,000 years, each uniquely detailed in appearance and armor, reflecting extraordinary ancient craftsmanship. But some discoveries don't just change history, they change reality itself. Scientists studying galaxies discovered that visible matter cannot explain how the universe behaves. This led to the concept of dark matter, an invisible substance that cannot be directly observed but appears to make up most of the universe. Without it, modern models of gravity and cosmic structure fail completely. Finally, genetic research revealed something even more surprising. Modern humans still carry DNA from extinct relatives like Neanderthals and Denisovans. This means human evolution was not a straight replacement, but a long period of interaction, migration, interbreeding between different human species. The truth is simple. Every generation uncovers discoveries that previous generations thought were impossible. Ancient civilizations become older, human evolution becomes more complex, and the universe becomes stranger the deeper we look. So what if the biggest parts of history are still missing? Because the greatest discoveries don't just explain the past, they rewrite it completely. Humans continue digging deeper underground through mountains, beneath ancient rock formations, and into places untouched for millions of years, as mining tunnels stretch farther beneath Earth's surface than ever before. Excavation teams continue uncovering fossils, hidden caverns, ancient remains, and prehistoric structures buried deep underground in complete darkness. But some discoveries feel disturbing for one reason alone, because they appear far too recent and strangely untouched by time itself. Almost as if something ancient never truly disappeared from the Earth at all. One of the most disturbing discoveries began inside a sealed fossil chamber uncovered during a deep mining excavation beneath solid rock layers. Workers expecting ordinary stone instead entered a hidden cavern filled with enormous prehistoric skeletons stretching through the darkness. Massive rib cages towered across the chamber while ancient skulls rested beneath layers of dust and collapsed. Stone untouched for millions of years. Then workers noticed fresh movement patterns, long drag marks, and recent claw impressions surrounding the fossils. Another terrifying discovery came from a sealed underground reptile tunnel where mining workers discovered gigantic claw marks carved directly into solid rock walls. Thermal scanners later detected strange heat signatures deeper inside the tunnel system, far below normal geothermal activity. The deeper exploration teams attempted to travel underground, the more unstable the surrounding rock became around the tunnel itself. Eventually, the entire section was sealed permanently without further public explanation. One of the most horrifying stories involved a giant spider cavern discovered beneath an abandoned mining shaft deep underground. Workers accidentally broke into a hidden chamber covered in thick web-like material stretching across the walls and ceiling. Bones hung suspended in layers of silk, while massive tunnel openings disappeared deeper into darkness beyond the visible sections of the cavern. Several miners reportedly refused to continue working after hearing strange clicking sounds echoing repeatedly through the chamber walls. Another strange discovery involved an enormous prehistoric sea creature, fossil found miles underground beneath ancient rock formations. Researchers became disturbed after noticing fresh moisture, continuously covering the exposed fossil surface, despite the surrounding chamber remaining completely dry. Some scientists blamed underground condensation, while others admitted the isolated moisture patterns seemed unusually unnatural for a fossil buried at such depth. The phenomenon remained unexplained even after further investigation inside the underground chamber. Deep beneath volcanic rock formations, thermal scans later revealed a giant serpent-like shape, repeatedly appearing beneath ancient lava chambers underground. Long, curved, and massive enough to resemble a sleeping creature trapped beneath the Earth itself. At first, researchers believed the images resulted from unusual underground heat distribution patterns beneath the volcanic rock. But repeated scans continued revealing the exact same massive shape beneath the surface every single time. Then came disturbing reports from underground security cameras, installed inside isolated mining tunnels far beneath the Earth's surface. Footage briefly captured large ape-like humanoid figures, moving silently through complete darkness before disappearing behind rock walls. Their movements looked unnaturally fast, silent, and disturbingly human at the same time, inside the underground tunnels. Most experts dismissed the footage as shadows or camera distortion, but nobody could fully explain what appeared. Another shocking discovery involved a frozen underground chamber hidden beneath ancient layers of ice and stone deep below the surface. Researchers discovered a massive prehistoric creature, preserved almost perfectly inside the frozen darkness beneath the earth. Skin, teeth, claws, and even soft tissue structures remained partially intact, despite being buried underground for thousands of years. But investigators focused on large cracks slowly spreading across the surrounding ice walls, as if the chamber was beginning to thaw open again. Perhaps the most terrifying discovery involved what miners later called the breathing chamber, hidden deep beneath a mountain excavation site. Workers drilling through underground rock reportedly heard low, rhythmic breathing sounds behind sealed stone walls underground. At first, they assumed underground ventilation systems, which caused the strange sounds echoing through the surrounding rock formations, until the sounds slowly became louder, slower, and deeper, like massive lungs inhaling somewhere inside the darkness. And finally came the most disturbing discovery of all, when an excavation team accidentally opened a gigantic hidden chamber buried beneath ancient stone layers. Dust filled the air as the cavern slowly revealed itself beneath the harsh lights of mining equipment underground. Then movement was suddenly detected far inside the darkness beyond the visible sections of the hidden underground chamber. Several workers later described seeing enormous glowing eyes, opening briefly before the underground power system suddenly failed completely. The truth is that most underground discoveries probably have logical explanations involving geology, natural formations, environmental conditions, and fear. But deep underground, far beneath civilization, humans enter environments almost completely unknown to modern science. Places isolated for millions of years beneath the earth, where prehistoric life once ruled the world completely. And maybe somewhere beneath the surface, hidden inside untouched chambers, something ancient still survives in the darkness below. The world beneath our feet remains one of the most mysterious and least explored frontiers on Earth. Hidden beneath mountains, forests, deserts, and endless layers of rock, vast underground cave systems stretch for miles in darkness, forming complex networks that humans are only beginning to fully understand. Inside these subterranean worlds, explorers often discover breathtaking crystal formations, underground rivers, and massive chambers untouched for thousands of years. Yet despite their beauty, caves are also among the most dangerous environments on the planet. A single mistake underground can quickly turn from an adventure into a life-threatening situation, where survival depends on preparation, awareness, and luck. One of the most underestimated dangers in cave exploration is rising water levels, which can transform safe passages into... Explorers assume that stable weather on the surface means safe conditions underground, but cave systems often respond differently to rainfall far away. Heavy storms miles from the entrance can send sudden surges of water rushing through hidden tunnels and narrow passages. These floods can appear without warning, cutting off escape routes and isolating anyone inside. Even experienced cavers have been caught off guard by rapidly changing conditions underground. In such environments, water becomes one of the most unpredictable and powerful forces. What seems calm at the entrance can become overwhelming chaos deeper inside. Another major risk in cave exploration is going alone, which significantly increases the danger of even minor accidents. Underground environments leave very little room for error, where a simple slip, injury, or miscalculation can quickly escalate into a critical emergency. Without a partner nearby, there is no immediate help available in case of injury or disorientation. Something as small as a twisted ankle can prevent an explorer from returning safely to the surface. Darkness, silence, and isolation also amplify fear and confusion, making decision-making more difficult. For this reason, experienced cavers strongly discourage solo exploration in remote cave systems. Survival underground often depends on teamwork and support. Entering unmapped passages presents another serious hazard, as caves often contain unstable or unknown tunnel networks. Curiosity can easily lead explorers into areas that have not been properly studied or marked for safety. These passages may contain loose rock, sudden drops, or dead ends that are impossible to navigate back through. In such environments, getting lost is far easier than most people realize. Even skilled explorers can become disoriented when familiar landmarks disappear in complete darkness. Underground navigation relies heavily on careful planning and constant awareness of direction. Once that sense is lost, escape becomes extremely difficult and dangerous. One of the most terrifying challenges in caves is the loss of light, because absolute darkness underground is unlike anything experienced on the surface. Unlike nighttime outdoors, caves contain no natural light at all, meaning even a small equipment failure can create total blindness. Many explorers underestimate how long their journey will take and run out of battery or backup lighting. Without illumination, movement becomes slow, uncertain, and extremely risky. Navigation errors become more likely, and panic can set in quickly under such conditions. This is why backup lighting systems are considered essential for safe exploration. In darkness, even familiar paths can feel completely unfamiliar. Equipment failure is another critical factor that contributes to many cave accidents, as underground exploration requires reliable and specialized gear. Helmets, ropes, protective clothing, and emergency supplies are not optional, but necessary for survival in unpredictable environments. Some explorers make the mistake of assuming basic equipment is sufficient for complex cave systems. However, caves often demand redundancy in safety systems because one failure can trigger a chain of dangerous consequences. Rocks can fall, paths can collapse, and water levels can shift unexpectedly. Proper preparation significantly reduces risk, but neglecting equipment standards often leads to serious consequences underground. Among all cave dangers, getting trapped in tight passages is one of the most feared scenarios for explorers. Some tunnels appear wide and manageable at first, but gradually narrow as individuals move deeper inside. In certain cases, explorers become stuck in positions where movement backward becomes just as difficult as moving forward. This can create intense panic, especially when breathing becomes restricted or exhaustion begins to set in. Rescue in such situations is extremely challenging and sometimes impossible depending on location. Many experienced cavers avoid extremely narrow passages entirely due to these risks. Underground, even small spaces can become life-threatening traps. Some of the most well-known cave tragedies in history highlight just how unforgiving these environments can be, including cave diving accidents, flooding incidents, and exploration disasters like the Nutty Putty Cave incident and the Mossdale Caverns tragedy. These events show how quickly conditions can change and how difficult rescue operations can become in confined underground spaces. One of the most remarkable exceptions was the Thai cave rescue, where a youth soccer team was successfully saved after being trapped by sudden flooding. It became a powerful example of international coordination, bravery, and determination under extreme conditions. Ultimately, every cave exploration story carries the same lesson. Underground environments are unpredictable, unforgiving, and demand absolute respect. Humans constantly explore the unknown, from the deepest parts of the ocean to the farthest reaches of space, and even into the hidden layers beneath Earth's surface, where light and understanding both begin to fade. But sometimes, what we discover feels less like progress and more like a warning, because not everything found in nature or the cosmos is immediately understood. And in those moments, science does not always provide closure. It often opens new layers of questions instead. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where sunlight never reaches, scientists continue to find life that feels almost alien in nature. Creatures that glow in complete darkness, organisms with transparent bodies, and species shaped in ways that seem completely detached from familiar biology, all exist in these unexplored zones. Despite decades of research, most of the deep sea remains uncharted, meaning every new expedition still has the potential to reveal something entirely unexpected. In space, satellites and observatories have captured unusual images of Earth and beyond that sometimes show strange patterns, unidentified formations, and visual anomalies that do not easily match known explanations. In some cases, later observations reveal changes or even complete disappearance of previously recorded structures, creating inconsistencies that are still debated. These uncertainties continue to challenge how consistently we interpret distant and complex data. Beneath massive glaciers, scientists have detected unusual movement patterns through sonar and ice-penetrating radar systems. Large shapes and shifting signals appear in regions that are extremely difficult to access directly, making verification nearly impossible in many cases. Because of this extreme inaccessibility, a portion of these findings remains unresolved. With research still ongoing in harsh and remote environments, far beyond Earth, powerful space telescopes and deep space instruments continue to detect strange radio bursts, repeating patterns, and energy emissions originating from distant regions of the universe. While many of these signals are eventually explained through natural astrophysical processes, a small fraction still lacks a confirmed and universally accepted source. These unresolved signals remain one of the most active areas of modern astronomical research. On Earth itself, hidden underground chambers and ancient structures continue to be discovered in different regions of the world. Some are buried for thousands of years, containing markings, layouts, or construction patterns whose original purpose is still being studied. Even with modern archaeological tools, certain sites remain partially unexplained, preserving mystery within otherwise mapped regions of history. In remote forests, motion-activated cameras occasionally capture brief and unclear movements between dense vegetation. Tall silhouettes, fast-moving shadows, or partial figures sometimes appear for only seconds before disappearing into darkness. While most of these sightings are later attributed to wildlife behavior or environmental distortion, a small number remain without definitive explanation, keeping them open to interpretation. In extreme environments on Earth, scientists continue to discover life forms that survive in conditions once thought completely uninhabitable. These extremophiles exist deep underground, inside solid rock, in toxic chemical environments, and even in regions of extreme cold and darkness. Their existence continues to expand the known boundaries of biology, showing that life is far more adaptable than previously assumed. Deep within volcanic regions, thermal imaging and geological scans have occasionally revealed unusual underground structures and shifting formations. Some of these patterns appear to change over time, while others remain difficult to fully interpret using standard geological models, although most are eventually explained through natural processes. A portion of these observations still undergo ongoing scientific investigation. In space near Earth, cameras mounted on spacecraft have recorded unidentified objects moving in ways that do not always match expected orbital behavior. Some appear briefly and vanish between frames, while others show movement patterns that initially defy simple classification. Many of these cases are later explained as reflections, debris, or imaging artifacts. But a small fraction remains unresolved within official analysis. When all of these discoveries are viewed together, a broader pattern begins to emerge. The universe is active. Earth is still far from fully explored, and scientific understanding is constantly evolving rather than complete. Each discovery adds new knowledge, but also introduces new uncertainties that push research further. And in that sense, science is not a final answer. It is an expanding process of uncovering deeper layers of reality. The truth is that humanity may still be in the early stages of understanding existence itself, where every answer leads to additional questions rather than final conclusions. And perhaps what we call unknown is not the absence of knowledge, but simply something we have not yet developed the tools or perspective to fully comprehend. Because sometimes, the more we discover, the more clearly we realize how much is still hidden. Deep within the Scottish Highlands, where mountains rise like silent guardians and mist drifts endlessly across ancient valleys, there lies a place that feels untouched by time itself. A long, dark stretch of water, known as Loch Ness, sits quietly between rugged landscapes, holding secrets that have fueled imagination for centuries. At first glance, it appears calm, almost ordinary, reflecting skies and storms like any other lake. But beneath its surface lies an unsettling depth, where darkness swallows light just a few feet below. This is not just a lake in Scotland. It is a stage where one of the world's most enduring mysteries continues to exist. And for generations, people have claimed that something unnatural moves silently within its depths. Legends surrounding Loch Ness stretch back hundreds of years, long before modern cameras or scientific exploration. One of the earliest accounts dates to the 6th century. St. Columba allegedly encountered a strange creature in the waters while traveling through the region. Whether interpreted as myth, religious symbolism, or historical event, the story became one of the earliest foundations of a legend that refused to disappear. Over time, local tales evolved, passed from generation to generation, each adding new details to the mystery. Yet for most of history, these stories remained regional folklore, unknown to the wider world. It changed dramatically in the 20th century, when reports of something unusual beneath the lake began to spread far beyond Scotland. The turning point came in the early 1930s, when sightings of an unidentified creature suddenly captured global attention. Witnesses described large shapes moving beneath the surface, disturbances in the water, and occasionally something resembling long necks rising briefly before disappearing again. Newspapers quickly amplified these reports, transforming local accounts into international headlines. Then, in 1934, a single photograph appeared that changed everything. Known as the surgeon's photograph, it seemed to show a long-necked creature emerging from the water. For decades, it became one of the most debated images in cryptozoology, convincing many that something extraordinary might truly inhabit the lake. Loch Ness was no longer just a quiet body of water. It had become a global mystery. As interest grew, so did exploration. Scientists, researchers, and curious investigators turned their attention toward the depths of the lake, hoping to uncover evidence of the creature known as Nessie. Over time, advanced sonar systems scanned the waters, underwater cameras explored deep sections, and extensive surveys attempted to map everything beneath the surface. Loch Ness itself is vast, holding more fresh water than all the lakes in England and Wales combined, with depths exceeding 230 meters in some areas. Its waters are dark and opaque due to high peat content, making visibility extremely poor even under ideal conditions. This natural darkness became both the perfect hiding place for imagination and the greatest obstacle for scientific confirmation. Despite decades of investigation, no definitive physical evidence of a large unknown creature has ever been discovered. Modern studies, including environmental DNA analysis, have detected fish, mammals, birds, and known aquatic species, but nothing that suggests the existence of an unidentified prehistoric monster. It's the famous surviving dinosaur theory, which proposed Nessie as a plesiosaur-like creature. It has also been widely rejected by scientists due to ecological and evolutionary inconsistencies. Yet even without evidence, the mystery refuses to fade. Sightings continue to be reported by tourists, locals, and visitors who describe strange ripples, shadows, and movements beneath the water. Each account adds another layer to the legend, even if none provide conclusive proof. Part of the explanation may lie not beneath the water, but within the human mind itself. Psychology shows that humans are highly skilled at interpreting patterns, even when information is incomplete. In environments like Loch Ness, where visibility is low and conditions are unpredictable, the brain often fills gaps with familiar shapes and expectations. A wave becomes a creature. A log becomes a neck. A ripple becomes movement. This does not mean people are lying. It means perception itself can be influenced by environment and emotion. In a place already surrounded by legend, every unusual sight becomes part of a much larger story. And yet, even with scientific explanations and repeated investigations, the Loch Ness mystery continues to survive. Perhaps it endures not because of evidence, but because of possibility. In a world where satellites map every corner of the planet and technology reveals hidden details with precision, the idea that something unknown might still exist feels powerful. Loch Ness represents that remaining space for mystery, a reminder that not everything has been fully explained or completely understood. Whether Nessie is real, misunderstood, or entirely imagined, the legend persists because it gives people something rare in the modern world, the chance to still wonder. The ocean depths remain one of the least explored places on Earth. A vast hidden world that exists just beneath our reach, yet feels completely separate from everything we know on the surface. Even with advanced submarines, sonar systems, and deep-sea drones designed to push human limits further than ever before, most of the abyss remains completely unknown and unobserved. Pressure increases to crushing levels that can destroy equipment instantly. Sunlight disappears entirely beyond certain depths, and visibility drops to near zero, turning the ocean into a place of absolute uncertainty. In this environment, even the smallest unknown becomes something deeply unsettling because the human mind struggles to process what cannot be seen or understood. Over the years, exploration teams and researchers have reported encounters that challenge conventional explanation, leaving behind fragmented data, broken recordings, and unanswered questions. These events are often dismissed individually, but when viewed together, they form a pattern that feels increasingly difficult to ignore. Here are 10 deep-sea encounters too disturbing to ignore, each one emerging from conditions where observation itself becomes unreliable and dangerous. One of the most unsettling reports is known as the submarine drone collision incident. A remotely operated deep-sea drone captured footage of a massive shape moving silently through total darkness. At first, the object appeared distant and slow, but within moments it rapidly closed the distance toward the camera before the entire feed suddenly cut out without warning. The drone was never recovered, and no mechanical failure fully explained the abrupt loss of signal. Another encounter involves what researchers described as a giant eye sighting, where deep diving teams reported seeing a reflective surface appearing just beyond the range of their lights. The object did not approach or react aggressively, but instead seemed to observe the divers silently from a distance, creating an unsettling sense of awareness before disappearing back into the darkness without a trace.
Wow.
No biological classification could explain such a structure at that depth and scale. In another case, sonar systems detected what was labeled a ghost ship reading beneath an abandoned wreck site on the ocean floor. The data showed a massive moving structure positioned below the seafloor itself, something that did not match any known geological formation or known underwater vessel behavior. Even more strangely, the object appeared to shift position slowly before vanishing completely from sonar detection, leaving behind no consistent trace or follow-up reading. One of the most disturbing recordings involved what was later referred to as impossible tentacle footage, captured by a deep-sea camera system monitoring equipment in real time. Sudden movements appeared around the device, revealing long, flexible shapes briefly entering the frame as if interacting with the machinery itself before quickly retreating out of view. Moments later, the entire feed was disrupted and permanently corrupted, preventing further analysis of what was actually recorded. Explorers entering an underwater cave system reported an equally disturbing phenomenon involving unexplained metallic echoes traveling through narrow submerged tunnels. The sounds appeared to originate from deeper within the rock structure, despite no visible source or mechanical presence in the area. As the sounds grew more irregular and difficult to interpret, the team immediately exited the cave, abandoning the expedition due to safety concerns. Another incident involved a repeating signal detected from an extremely deep ocean trench, where monitoring stations recorded rhythmic patterns that suggested structured communication or natural but organized underwater activity. Before scientists could fully analyze the source, all connected instruments malfunctioned simultaneously across multiple systems. The failure occurred without warning, and the signal was never detected again in the same form. In a separate expedition, crew members reported witnessing a massive shadow moving parallel to their submersible at extreme depth, maintaining a consistent speed alongside the vessel for several minutes. The object showed no clear biological structure or identifiable shape, yet its presence was strong enough to be tracked visually and partially by sensors. Despite extensive review, no confirmed explanation for the shadow's origin was ever established. One of the most unnerving events recorded in deep-sea exploration history is known as the sudden silence incident, where all sensors, sonar readings, and communication systems shut down simultaneously during a dive. There was no gradual failure or warning signs. Everything stopped at once, leaving the crew without data, feedback, or external contact for a brief and terrifying period. When systems eventually recovered, no clear cause for the total blackout could be identified. Researchers also recovered biological material during deep-sea exploration missions that did not match any known organism classification in existing scientific databases. The samples appeared unusual in composition and structure. But before complete analysis could be conducted, they were reportedly lost during transport under unclear circumstances. This loss prevented any final confirmation or rejection of their origin. Finally, beneath polar ice shelves, radar systems detected a massive moving shape beneath frozen ocean layers, far below typical navigation or biological ranges. The object appeared to move independently of known ocean currents and remained stable in size and motion across multiple readings. Despite repeated scans, the formation could not be clearly identified or tracked consistently over time. When all of these encounters are viewed together, they create a consistent pattern, not of clear answers, but of recurring, unexplained phenomena emerging from extreme depths where observation is limited and unreliable. The deep ocean is not simply empty space. It is an active, dynamic, and still largely unobserved environment that continues to resist full understanding. And perhaps the most unsettling truth is that humanity has only explored a fraction of it, leaving most of it completely unknown. So the question remains, what could still exist in areas humans have never truly reached? Where pressure crushes technology, light cannot survive, and exploration itself becomes uncertain. Because the abyss does not feel terrifying simply because it is dark, but because even after all this time, we still do not truly know what is inside it. The deep ocean is the largest habitat on Earth, covering vast regions of our planet that remain almost completely unexplored. While humanity has mapped mountains, crossed deserts, and even traveled into space, much of the deep sea still exists as a realm of mystery hidden beneath kilometers of dark water. Within this enormous underwater world live creatures that many people describe as terrifying. Some possess enormous jaws lined with needle-like teeth, while others glow with eerie lights or have bodies so strange they appear almost extraterrestrial. To many observers, these animals look more like monsters from science fiction than living organisms from our own planet. Yet the reality is far more fascinating. Deep-sea creatures are not evil, supernatural, or dangerous simply because they look unusual. They are the product of millions of years of evolution, adapting life to one of the harshest and most unforgiving environments on Earth. Their appearance may seem frightening, but every feature exists for one purpose: survival. One of the main reasons deep-sea animals appear so alien is the darkness in which they live. As sunlight penetrates the ocean, it gradually fades until beyond roughly 200 meters. The world begins transitioning into the aphotic zone, a region where sunlight never reaches. Imagine an environment with no sunrise, no shadows, no colors, and no visible horizon. In this endless darkness, evolution follows a very different path than it does near the surface. Animals no longer rely on the same visual cues that shape life in brighter environments. Familiar forms begin to disappear, replaced by specialized adaptations designed for survival in complete blackness. Because humans evolved in a world filled with light, our brains naturally struggle to recognize creatures that evolved without it. The deeper we descend into the ocean, the more life seems disconnected from everything we know, creating the powerful impression that these organisms belong somewhere far beyond Earth. Eyes provide another reason these creatures seem unsettling. Human beings rely heavily on vision to understand the world around them. We instinctively search for eyes and faces because they help us recognize living things and interpret behavior. Deep-sea animals, however, often challenge those expectations. Some species evolve enormous eyes capable of capturing the faintest traces of light in the darkness. Others develop tiny eyes that serve limited functions, while some lose their eyes entirely because vision becomes unnecessary in an environment without sunlight. When people encounter animals with oversized, reduced, or missing eyes, the brain struggles to categorize them as familiar forms of life. This uncertainty often triggers discomfort. What feels frightening is not necessarily the animal itself, but the fact that it violates our expectations of how a living creature should look. Food scarcity also plays a major role in shaping the bizarre appearance of deep-sea predators. Unlike surface ecosystems where food can be relatively abundant, the deep ocean is a place where every meal matters. Animals may wait days, weeks, or even longer for an opportunity to feed. Over millions of years, this challenge has produced some of the most extreme hunting adaptations on Earth. Many species evolved enormous jaws, expandable stomachs, transparent bodies, and teeth that seem impossibly large for their size. The famous anglerfish is perhaps the perfect example. Its glowing lure, intimidating mouth, and sharp teeth make it appear terrifying to human observers. Yet every one of these features serves a practical purpose in an environment where missing a meal could mean death. In the deep sea, evolution rewards efficiency rather than beauty, creating animals that appear frightening only because they are so perfectly adapted to their world. Perhaps the most mysterious adaptation found in the deep ocean is bioluminescence, the ability of living organisms to generate their own light. In the darkness of the deep sea, tiny flashes, glowing patterns, and drifting points of illumination can appear without warning. Some animals use light to attract prey, others use it to communicate, and some use it to confuse predators. To the human mind, there is something deeply unsettling about a living creature producing light in total darkness. Combined with unusual body shapes, transparent skin, oversized mouths, and bizarre proportions, these glowing adaptations create organisms that seem almost supernatural, yet every strange feature has a scientific explanation. Evolution is not concerned with appearance. It only preserves characteristics that improve an animal's chances of survival, regardless of how unusual those characteristics may seem to us. Ultimately, the greatest source of fear associated with deep-sea creatures may not be the animals themselves, but the environment they inhabit. Humans evolved to be cautious of darkness, uncertainty, hidden dangers, and places where visibility is limited. The deep ocean combines all of these fears into a single environment. It is a world of immense pressure, endless blackness, and extraordinary isolation, where life has evolved along pathways unlike anything we encounter on land. The creatures that emerge from this realm appear frightening because they challenge our understanding of what life should look like, yet they are not monsters or nightmares. They are remarkable examples of nature's ability to adapt and thrive under extreme conditions. And despite everything scientists have discovered so far, the deep ocean still holds countless secrets waiting to be revealed. Somewhere within that vast darkness, new species remain undiscovered, reminding us that the unknown is often far more fascinating than it is frightening. Earthquakes do far more than simply shake buildings and disturb human life. They actively reshape the planet's surface and unlock hidden layers of the Earth that have remained sealed for thousands or even millions of years. When tectonic plates shift violently, mountains can crack open, valleys can shift position, and underground water systems can be completely redirected in an instant. In some rare cases, these powerful geological events create new openings into deep subterranean environments that were previously inaccessible to humans. Caves that once remained sealed for centuries suddenly become exposed, revealing darkness that has never seen sunlight. Within these hidden spaces, scientists sometimes encounter ecosystems that evolved in complete isolation, untouched by surface conditions, and entirely separated from the outside world. These discoveries suggest that beneath the ground, Earth still holds countless secrets waiting to be uncovered. One of the most fascinating types of creatures discovered after earthquakes includes cave-dwelling reptiles, particularly snakes that live deep underground in total darkness. These animals are often adapted to environments where light never reaches, relying on vibration, smell, and temperature changes to navigate their surroundings. When earthquakes open new cracks or expand existing cave systems, researchers occasionally find populations of these snakes that had remained completely isolated for generations. Similarly, isolated lizard species have been discovered living in hidden rock chambers, surviving in conditions where food is scarce and environmental stability is extremely limited. Over time, these reptiles adapt to darkness, reduced resources, and extreme environmental pressure, developing unique survival strategies that differ significantly from their surface-dwelling relatives. Their existence demonstrates how life can persist even in the most hidden and extreme environments on Earth. Another remarkable discovery often associated with newly exposed underground environments is blind cavefish, which represent one of the clearest examples of evolutionary adaptation to darkness. These fish live in complete absence of light, and over generations they often lose their eyesight entirely because vision becomes unnecessary in their environment. Instead of relying on sight, they develop heightened sensitivity to vibrations, water pressure changes, and chemical signals that help them navigate through submerged cave systems. When earthquakes open access to previously sealed water passages, scientists may encounter populations of these fish that have evolved in isolation for thousands of years. Their existence highlights the incredible ability of life to adapt when environmental conditions remain stable but extreme. In such environments, survival depends not on strength or speed, but on sensory evolution and biological efficiency. Earthquakes also sometimes reveal hidden bat colonies living deep inside underground cave systems, where entire populations may exist completely undisturbed until a geological shift exposes their habitat. These colonies can number in the thousands and often occupy vast cavern networks that stretch far beneath the surface. Bats are uniquely adapted to dark environments, using echolocation to navigate complex underground spaces with remarkable precision. When new cave entrances are formed due to rock collapses or shifting geological layers, researchers may suddenly gain access to ecosystems that have been active for centuries without human awareness. Alongside bats, scientists also discover cave arthropods, including insects and arachnids, specially adapted for underground survival. These creatures often display pale or translucent bodies, elongated limbs, and enhanced sensory organs designed for navigating total darkness. In addition to larger underground species, earthquakes can expose entire aquatic systems containing subterranean crustaceans and microorganisms that exist far beneath the Earth's surface. These tiny creatures live in isolated pools and underground rivers that have remained sealed from external ecosystems for extremely long periods. Over time, these environments evolve independently, creating unique biological systems that function without any connection to surface life. Earthquakes can shift geological layers in ways that alter underground water flow, revealing species that were previously completely unknown to science. In some cases, researchers discover entire ecosystems of microorganisms capable of surviving under extreme pressure, low oxygen levels, and complete absence of sunlight. These organisms help scientists understand the boundaries of life and how far biological adaptation can extend in harsh environments. The most extraordinary aspect of these discoveries is that earthquakes do not create new life, but instead reveal what has always been hidden beneath the surface of the entire ecosystems, complex food chains, and isolated biological communities can exist undisturbed for centuries until a sudden geological shift exposes them to the outside world. These underground systems often include interconnected caves, water networks, and species uniquely adapted to darkness, forming complete biological worlds that operate independently from surface ecosystems. Every time the Earth trembles and reshapes itself, it opens a temporary window into these hidden environments, reminding us that our understanding of the planet is still incomplete. Beneath our feet lies a vast and largely unexplored world, and each seismic event has the potential to reveal something entirely new about life on Earth. Deep beneath the surface, far beyond where sunlight has ever existed, a massive mining operation pushes deeper than any project before it. Layers of rock are broken apart by heavy drilling machines. Tunnels expand into darkness that has remained untouched for centuries. It's routine work, dangerous, but controlled. Every movement is calculated, every tunnel mapped, every risk accounted for. At least that's what they believed. Then the system logs changed. At first it was small, almost unnoticeable. Worker missing from shift. No alarm, no distress call, no recorded exit, just absent. Supervisors assumed miscommunication, fatigue, error in scheduling, until another worker disappeared. Same pattern, no collapse, no equipment failure. Concern began to rise across the site. Security teams reviewed camera footage. Every corridor, every access point. Nothing unusual, no one leaving, no one entering. Workers appeared on screen one moment, and then, in later frames, gone, as if removed from reality between recordings. The deeper mining sector level 7 was shut down immediately. Operations paused, access restricted. But pressure from above demanded progress, deadlines, costs, expectations. So the decision was made. Level 7 would reopen. A team of experienced miners was selected, sent down together. No one would move alone. They descended slowly into the lower tunnels, lights cutting through complete darkness. Air becoming heavier with each level. The sound of drilling echoed differently here. Not outward, but inward, as if something deeper was reflecting it back. Or responding. The team advanced cautiously, every step measured. Then the power flickered. Once, twice, then complete darkness. For a moment, nothing existed. No light, no sound, just silence. Backup systems activated seconds later. Dim emergency lights flickered on. The team looked around. One of them was gone. No sound, no struggle, no warning, just missing. Panic spread instantly. They called for evacuation. No response. Communication lines failed completely. Static replaced every signal. The deeper they listened, the quieter it became, as if the underground itself was absorbing sound. The remaining miners regrouped and moved toward the main shaft. But something was wrong. The tunnel had changed. Paths didn't match the map. Turns led to dead ends. Familiar routes became unfamiliar. It wasn't just disorientation. It felt controlled, guided, as if something was moving them without touching them. Then a sound, not machinery, a falling rock. Breathing slow, heavy, close. They turned their lights toward the sound. Nothing, only rock walls. Then a shadow moved across the surface, too fast to follow, too smooth to be natural. One miner broke formation. He ran. A mistake. From the darkness, something moved. Sudden force. He was pulled sideways into a narrow tunnel. It's gone instantly. No echo, no trace. The remaining team began running together, lights shaking violently, breathing uncontrolled. Every direction felt wrong. Every sound felt closer. They reached a wider tunnel, hope rising for a moment. Then the path ahead collapsed. Rock sealed the exit instantly. Dust filled the air. They were trapped. Before they could react, the ground beneath them cracked. A deep, hollow space opened below. Darkness beneath darkness. Something moved within it. Massive. Slow, but powerful. The walls began to pulse, not shaking. Breathing, the entire cave felt alive. The miners froze. Then for a single moment, it revealed itself. Massive form blending into the rock itself. The surface shifted like moving stone. Textures changing, reforming, as if it was the cave. Its eyes opened faintly in the darkness. Dim, glowing, watching, not reacting, calculating. It didn't chase. It waited, patient, understanding the space completely. Then it moved again, fast. Unnatural speed for something that size. Another miner was taken. No resistance, no time to react, just absence. The remaining survivor ran blindly, through a narrow shaft leading upward, climbing over rock and broken supports, hands bleeding, breath collapsing. Behind him, movement continued. Not rushing, following. He reached an old communication relay line. Damaged, but active. He grabbed the transmitter. Static filled the channel, and a broken signal pushed through. Weak, distorted, his voice barely formed words. It's not the cave. Static cut in. It's inside the cave. Silence followed. Then the signal ended completely. No further transmission. No confirmation. Above ground, operations stopped immediately. The entire mining site was shut down, permanently. All entrances sealed. Access restricted. Official reports cited structural instability, but internally no one believed it, because the data didn't match a collapse. It matched removal, controlled disappearance. Deep below the surface, far beyond sealed tunnels and abandoned equipment, something remains. Moving through rock, waiting, adapting, not trapped, not contained. Because it was never inside the cave. It is the cave, and it doesn't need light. It doesn't need sound. It only needs time for the next group to dig too deep. Sometimes cameras capture things people do not notice until much later. Strange movements hidden deep in the background. Shadows appearing where nobody should exist, or figures standing perfectly still for only a few seconds before disappearing completely without explanation. Most mysterious clips online are eventually explained through editing, lighting, camera distortion, or simple misidentified objects. But Some footage continues disturbing viewers years later because nobody has ever fully explained what was actually recorded. One of the most unsettling types of footage involves shadow figures appearing briefly in ordinary recordings. And in one disturbing video, a family casually films inside their living room while nothing appears unusual at first glance. But deep in the background, near a dark hallway, a motionless figure suddenly becomes visible for only a few seconds. And most viewers completely miss it during the first watch. Then suddenly, the figure moves unnaturally fast across the hallway before disappearing entirely out of frame. And despite years of analysis, no confirmed explanation was ever given for what appeared in the footage. Another disturbing recording came from a fishing boat far from shore during a calm and silent night, where at first the video looked completely normal until something massive moved beneath the surface beside the boat. A dark underwater shape, far larger than any visible fish, briefly became visible under the water before instantly disappearing back into the darkness below. Some viewers believed it was a whale, while others argued the movement looked completely unfamiliar and unlike any known sea creature. But whatever the crew witnessed, they stopped filming almost immediately afterward. Strange footage recorded in the sky has also confused people for years, including one clip showing several bright lights hovering silently above a city during the night. At first, the lights appeared stationary, but then they suddenly changed direction instantly, moving in ways that seemed impossible. While one light stopped completely in midair before vanishing entirely, the footage spread rapidly online as people searched for explanations, with some claiming drones and others suggesting atmospheric distortion. But no explanation ever fully matched the movements visible in the recording. Security cameras inside abandoned buildings often capture equally disturbing footage. And one recording from a decaying hospital showed a completely empty hallway filled with dust and silence late at night. Then suddenly a window slammed shut on an upper floor, and only seconds later a dark figure briefly appeared behind broken glass, motionless and seemingly watching before disappearing once again. Forest cameras have also recorded unsettling images, including a motion-activated wildlife camera that captured what appeared to be a humanoid figure moving between trees late at night. Its movement looked wrong, too smooth and unnaturally fast. And unlike a normal animal, it briefly turned toward the camera before vanishing into the darkness between the trees. Some viewers believed it was simply a person wandering through the forest, while others argued the proportions and movement looked disturbingly unnatural. But because the footage lasted only seconds, nobody could determine exactly what was recorded. Sometimes the simplest events become the creepiest of all, like one security camera recording from an empty office hallway after midnight, where absolutely nothing appeared unusual at first. No movement, no sound, no people. Then suddenly, a heavy door slowly opened completely on its own. And after several silent seconds, another nearby door violently slammed shut despite nobody appearing anywhere in the footage. Fog creates another kind of fear entirely because it hides shapes until the last possible moment. One roadside recording captured a driver moving slowly through thick fog on an isolated road late at night. Visibility became almost zero until far ahead a human-like figure appeared, standing completely motionless inside the fog, barely visible in the distance. The driver slowed down cautiously, but before reaching the figure, it suddenly disappeared entirely as if nothing had ever been standing there at all. Another terrifying recording involved movement beneath frozen ice, when a group exploring a frozen lake filmed large cracks forming beneath the surface during the night. Then suddenly a massive dark shape moved directly underneath them, fast enough to visibly distort the ice, while the camera shook violently before the recording ended abruptly. No confirmed explanation was ever provided for what moved beneath the frozen surface that night. And finally, one of the most disturbing clips came from an underground tunnel security camera using infrared footage late at night, where something appeared crawling low across the tunnel floor. Its movement looked almost animal-like, but strangely human at the same time, with long limbs dragging unnaturally across the ground as it slowly moved deeper into the tunnel. Then suddenly the figure stopped moving completely and turned directly toward the camera before the footage abruptly cut out. The truth is that many mysterious videos online are fake, while others are eventually explained after careful investigation. Some recordings remain deeply unsettling because humans naturally fear uncertainty and things that appear almost familiar, but not completely human. So what if cameras occasionally capture things our eyes normally miss? Tiny moments hidden deep in the background, movements noticed too late, or figures appearing only for seconds before disappearing completely. Because while some footage is clearly fake, there are still certain clips that nobody has ever fully explained. Across the hills outside Cluj-Napoca, Romania, hidden beneath dense trees and twisting branches, lies a forest surrounded by decades of mystery and unexplained stories. Visitors describe strange lights, unexplained sounds, moments of confusion, and an overwhelming feeling that something unseen is silently watching from the darkness. For years, Hojabuchu Forest has been called one of the world's most haunted forests. But is it truly paranormal? Or simply a place where nature and human psychology create remarkably powerful experiences? The forest covers more than 250 hectares on the outskirts of Cluj-Napoca, where winding trails, dense vegetation, and strangely shaped trees attract hikers, photographers, scientists, and paranormal investigators from around the world every year. Unlike most forests, Hojabuchu carries an unusual reputation that extends far beyond Romania, becoming one of Europe's most famous locations for ghost stories and unexplained encounters. Every visitor arrives searching for answers, yet many leave with even more questions than they had before entering its shadowy paths. One of the oldest legends tells of a shepherd who entered the forest with his entire flock and mysteriously disappeared without leaving behind a single trace or explanation. Another local story describes a young girl who supposedly vanished deep inside the woodland before returning years later with no memory of where she had been or what had happened, though no historical evidence confirms these stories. They have survived through generations and remain an important part of the forest's mysterious folklore. Deep inside the forest lies one of its most discussed locations, a nearly perfect circular clearing where vegetation appears noticeably different from the surrounding woodland, despite decades of investigation. Some visitors believe the clearing possesses unusual energy, while others suggest completely natural explanations involving soil composition, drainage patterns, or historical land use that changed the environment long ago. Despite years of research, no scientific study has confirmed any supernatural cause, allowing speculation and mystery to continue growing. Many visitors report seeing strange, glowing lights, brief flashes moving between the trees, mysterious floating orbs, or unusual shapes appearing unexpectedly in photographs taken throughout the forest. In many situations, these effects can be explained by reflections, lens flare, insects, mist, changing weather conditions, or natural optical illusions that become more convincing in low light. Other reports remain inconclusive, simply because the available evidence is limited, unclear, or impossible to verify with certainty. Perhaps the most common experiences are psychological rather than visual, as many visitors describe sudden anxiety, unexplained fear, dizziness, confusion, or an intense feeling that someone is silently watching them from nearby. Psychologists explain that unfamiliar surroundings, deep silence, dense woodland, expectation, fatigue, and powerful local legends can strongly influence the way the human brain interprets ordinary sensations. The experiences feel completely real to those who encounter them, even when no physical cause can be identified. Another feature that captures attention is the forest itself, where countless trees grow with twisted trunks, unusual curves, and strangely distorted branches that appear almost unnatural when viewed up close. Researchers believe these unusual growth patterns may result from environmental stress, disease, weather conditions, or damage suffered during the tree's early development, rather than anything supernatural. Even so, their bizarre appearance has inspired countless ghost stories, documentaries, photographs, and online videos watched by millions around the world. Since the late 1960s, there have also been reports of unusual lights appearing above the forest, with some witnesses believing they observed unidentified flying objects, while others suggested distant aircraft or rare atmospheric phenomena. Scientists, environmental researchers, and paranormal investigators have all examined these claims, carefully measuring natural conditions while documenting eyewitness reports from people visiting the area. Despite decades of investigation, no repeatable scientific evidence has confirmed ghosts, extraterrestrial activity, or any verified paranormal phenomenon within Hojabuchu Forest. So why does the mystery continue after so many years? Despite modern technology and countless investigations, searching for clear answers that remain frustratingly out of reach. The answer may lie in the perfect combination of dense fog, ancient woodland, twisted trees, deep silence, and centuries of local legends working together to create an unforgettable atmosphere. In places already surrounded by mystery, the human brain naturally searches for patterns and meaning, causing ordinary events to feel extraordinary, far more easily than expected. Whether Hoja Baciu is simply an unusually atmospheric forest, or a place where folklore, psychology, and nature combine to create unforgettable experiences, its greatest mystery may never actually be hidden among the trees themselves. Instead, the true mystery may be the endless questions the forest continues inspiring in everyone who walks beneath its shadowed canopy and leaves wondering what they really experienced. Because sometimes the refusing to reveal all of its secrets. When most people think about the deadliest animals on Earth, they imagine enormous predators dominating land and sea. Sharks patrol the oceans, lions rule vast grasslands, and crocodiles wade silently beneath the surface of murky rivers. Yet some of nature's most formidable creatures are so small, they can walk across your fingertip unnoticed. Ants may seem insignificant when viewed individually, but together, they form some of the most organized and successful societies ever seen in the natural world. Through cooperation, communication, and overwhelming numbers, these tiny insects have conquered nearly every environment on Earth. Their colonies function with incredible efficiency, allowing them to survive, adapt, and sometimes become surprisingly dangerous. In many ways, ants demonstrate that true power does not always come from size, but from the ability to work together toward a common goal. Deep within the forests and grasslands of Africa lives one of the most intimidating ant species on the planet, the Saiafu, commonly known as African driver ants. These insects form enormous colonies that can contain millions of individuals moving together in coordinated swarms. As the colony advances, insects scatter, spiders abandon their hiding places, and countless small creatures rush to escape the approaching wave. Although Saiafu ants do not actively hunt humans and serve an important ecological role by removing dead animals and controlling pest populations, their sheer numbers create an unforgettable spectacle. Watching an entire landscape react to the movement of a single colony feels less like observing insects and more like witnessing a living force of nature. Their strength comes not from venom or size, but from the overwhelming power of collective action. Australia is home to another ant that has earned a fearsome reputation, the bulldog ant. Unlike many ant species that depend heavily on chemical trails and pheromones, bulldog ants possess exceptional eyesight, allowing them to spot movement and identify threats with remarkable accuracy. They are highly aggressive defenders of their territory and are known for their powerful jaws and painful stings. What makes them particularly intimidating is their willingness to confront danger directly. While many animals choose retreat as their first response, bulldog ants often charge toward perceived threats without hesitation. Some species can even leap toward intruders, making them surprisingly agile hunters and defenders. For a creature only a few centimeters long, the bulldog ant displays a level of confidence and aggression that rivals much larger predators. Among Africa's most famous insects are the driver ants, often called nature's marching army. Their massive coordinated raids can involve thousands upon thousands of ants moving across the landscape in search of food. Any creature too slow to escape may suddenly find itself surrounded by a living swarm. What makes these raids so fascinating is that no individual ant understands the larger objective. Each insect follows simple instincts and chemical signals, yet together they create an incredibly efficient hunting and foraging system. Scientists often study driver ants as examples of collective intelligence, where complex behavior emerges from the actions of countless individuals performing simple tasks. Their success demonstrates how organization and teamwork can become powerful survival strategies in the natural world. The red imported fire ant represents another level of danger, small, aggressive, and highly adaptable. These ants have spread across numerous regions of the world and become infamous for their painful stings. When their nest is disturbed, they respond almost instantly, with hundreds or even thousands emerging to defend their colony. Each ant bites the skin with its jaws and then delivers a venomous sting. For most people, the result is intense pain, itching, and swelling that can last for days. However, for individuals who suffer severe allergic reactions, multiple stings can become a serious medical emergency. The true threat of fire ants lies not in the power of a single insect, but in the speed and intensity of their collective response. What begins as one accidental step near a nest can quickly turn into an encounter with an entire army. At the top of the list stands the legendary bullet ant, widely considered to possess the most painful sting of any ant on Earth, found in the rainforests of Central and South America. This remarkable insect has become famous among entomologists, explorers, and survival experts alike. Victims often describe the sting as producing pain, unlike almost anything else in nature, with some comparing the sensation to being struck by a bullet. The pain can persist for many hours and may be accompanied by intense burning, trembling, and temporary difficulty using the affected limb. Unlike driver ants or fire ants, the bullet ant does